Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is regarding the Delphi case. And what were the questions that law enforcement had until they arrested Richard Allen? We remember hearing law enforcement saying multiple times, especially Doug Carter, things like, "We just need that one piece." And I would always say, yes, the one piece they need is the name that fits all the pieces. And it turns out Richard Allen does. So today's video is going to go over some of the questions that law enforcement had, information that they knew, and Richard Allen, when he finally was revealed to them, I think somebody tipped him into the tip line, and after looking at the tip narrative and investigating Richard Allen, they were able to determine that he answered all the questions. The video starts off by going over some of the press conference information in a really condensed form. It's only 5 or 6 minutes long. And then we move into the questions and how they were answered. All right, so let's get started on the video right now.
Why Libby? Why Abby? Why Delphi? Why Carroll County? Why the region? Why the state? Why even in the nation? I say that because this is a classic example and a clear example that evil lives amongst us. The poster in front of you. Someone knows who this individual is. Someone knows who this individual is. Is it a family member? Is it a neighbor? Is it an acquaintance? Is it an associate? Or maybe that one guy that lives over at that one place that just kind of not right. Maybe it's his jeans. Maybe it's his jacket or his sweatshirt. Maybe it's his shirt tail. Maybe it's his posture. Maybe it's the right hand in his pocket. Tips are anonymous. Some might not want to talk about it because they don't want to get involved, because they know the individual. Again, he may be a family member. Probably has family. No one will ever know. No one will ever know. As poor as this picture is, somebody knows. And if you're watching, we'll find you.
And I'd like the community to go back 9 days and go back to the afternoon of February 13th, Monday, February 13th, and just think if you had an interaction with an individual who inexplicably canceled an appointment that you had together, or an individual called into work sick and canceled an important appointment or a social engagement, and at the time gave what would have been a plausible explanation. My cell phone broke, or I had a flat tire on my car. But in retrospect, that excuse no longer holds water. That may be important. Likely so are behavioral indicators that this individual may have exhibited since the afternoon of May 13th. Did this individual travel unexpectedly? Did they change their appearance? Did they shave their beard, cut their hair, change the color of their hair? The superintendent mentioned the clothes that this individual was wearing in the photo. Did they change the way they dress? Did their behavior change? Did their sleep pattern is different now? Did they start abusing drugs or alcohol whereas they would not have? Have they been anxious, nervous, irritable? Have they followed this case and what the media is putting out with a sense that is not normal? Have they had ongoing discussions regarding their whereabouts on that afternoon or thereafter? Please, if you have that information, call that into the tip line.
Is there any specific information that says the person is local or from far away? No. Could this be a stranger crime? That's a possibility. Could this be somebody that knew that the girls were going to be there at that time, that's a possibility. Nothing is off the table. Is it reasonable to think that that's an area, one of two things happened. That was a chance encounter. That's possible. Don't think it's likely, but it's possible. Or that person knew that they were going to be there. That's possible as well. Those are things that we're looking into.
As I indicated before, the reason we believe this is suspects is based on the totality of the evidence that we've gathered thus far. That has led us to believe this is the person that at least participated in the murders of Liberty German and Abigail Williams. This young lady's a hero, there's no doubt. To have enough presence of mind to activate the video system on her cell phone to record what we believe is criminal behavior that is about to occur.
We're seeking the public's help to identify the driver of a vehicle that was parked at the old CPS DCS welfare building.
We've had several people say that they saw the person that we identified through the video that we obtained off of Liberty's phone, and we put that out. So once people saw that photo, then they said, "Oh, I saw that guy. I saw that guy." Well, we have to determine, is that the guy they saw, first of all, and if it is, then let's work together. So we were getting calls that night and throughout.
Between the hours of noon to 5 on February 14th, 2017. We are releasing additional portions of the audio recording from that day. Please keep in mind, the person talking is one person and is the person on the bridge with the girls. This is not two different people speaking. Please listen to it very, very carefully.
Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill.
We are also releasing video recovered from Libby's phone. This video has never before been previously released. The video shows a suspect walking on the bridge. When you see the video, watch the mannerisms as he walks. Do you recognize the mannerisms as being someone that you might know? Remember, he is walking on the former railroad bridge. Because of the deteriorated condition of the bridge, the suspect is not walking naturally due to the spacing between the ties. During the course of this investigation, we have concluded the first sketch released will become secondary as of today. The result of the new information and intelligence over time leads us to believe the sketch, which you will see shortly, is the person responsible for the murders of these two little girls. We also believe this person is from Delphi, currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis, or works here. We believe this person is currently between the age range of 18 and 40, but might appear younger than his true age. We believe you are hiding in plain sight. We likely have interviewed you or someone close to you. We know that this is about power to you. And you want to know what we know. And one day, you will. What will those closest to you think of? They find out that you brutally murdered two little girls, two children. Only a coward would do such a thing. We are confident that you have told someone what you have done. Or at the very least, they know because of how different you are since the murders.
Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill.
Number 1, the main question that law enforcement wanted answered was, who is Bridge Guy? And all of the remaining questions answer who Bridge Guy was. Now, who was the person that the three girls saw near the Freedom Bridge as they were leaving the trails? Now, the following is the answer to that question. So keep in mind, all of the information in the probable cause document regarding witnesses were things that they've known about for years. And the only thing that they were waiting for was a name to put to those witnesses. Interviews were conducted with 3 juvenile girls, RV, BW, and AS. They advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail towards Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking on the Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. AS described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing like blue jeans and like a really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was duck canvas type jacket. Being in all black, had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall, with a bigger build. She said he was no bigger than 5'10". RV advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017, and that was Dan Doolin. The narrative stated, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. And as we know, the 3 girls took a photograph at a bench at about 1:26 as they were heading out towards the Freedom Bridge. Then, as they were almost about to reach the Freedom Bridge, they ran into an individual who they describe as similar to Richard Allen, who also admits to getting there at 1:30, so their paths would have necessarily had to have crossed. This information verifies that Richard Allen is the individual that the 3 witnesses saw coming onto the trails around 1:30 to 1:35. Who is the person Betsy Blair saw? As you remember, Betsy Blair passed the Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:46, parked her car, and walked to the trail system and then towards the Monon High Bridge, and when she got there, she saw an individual standing on the bridge. And here is the answer to that question. Investigators spoke with Betsy Blair, who advised she was on the trails on February 13, 2017. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from Victim 2's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from Mears Farm, she passed 2 girls walking towards the Monon High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were Abby and Libby. On October 13, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13, 2017. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge and that he went onto the Monon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon High Bridge to watch the fish. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge, which is exactly where Betsy Blair saw the individual standing. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. So Richard Allen places himself on platform 1, exactly where Betsy Blair saw the individual standing. Betsy Blair, in subsequent interviews, was shown a picture of the bridge guy, the image that Libby took on her phone, and determined that that was the same individual that she saw. And we know that Betsy Blair described a younger-looking person, but I think we can explain that away, that she was 50 feet away, and apparently if he was looking at fish, then he was looking down in the water and from the side, and apparently he had some sort of mouth covering on as well. So it's very likely that Betsy Blair has an incorrect description, just like the three girls who saw one individual leaving had varying descriptions of clothing. Who did Sarah Carbaugh see? Here's the answer to that question. Investigators spoke with Sarah Carbaugh, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North, away from the Monenhigh Bridge. Sarah advised that the male subject was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest Store that Sarah Carbaugh was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. Now we know that in the memorandum in support of the Franks hearing, or better known as the Odin document, the defense team claims that Sarah Carbaugh never said that. Of course, they never mentioned that maybe in a subsequent interview she changed what she had observed. Maybe she thought about it more and came up with something different. They never mentioned that part. They always just tell you what is beneficial, which is, I guess that's what the defense does. When Betsy Blair was shown an image of the bridge guy from Libby's phone, she said that is the individual that she saw. Who is the driver of the vehicle that was parked at the abandoned CPS building? We all remember this question from the April 2019 press conference with Doug Carter, when the short 2-second long video of the bridge guy was revealed, along with guys down the hill. Down the hill was already released originally, but they added the word guys to it. But what always stood out to me in this press conference was when Doug Carter asked who the driver of the vehicle that was parked at the abandoned CPS building was. I thought at the time that it meant that they knew what type of car it was, and perhaps even knew, who it was, and wanted to see what that person did with their vehicle once they revealed that they knew that the car was parked there. But it turns out they still didn't know who the driver of the vehicle was, and that question has been answered. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned two vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:27 p.m., traveling westbound on CR 300 North in front of the Hoosier Harvest Store, which coincided with his statement that he arrived at around 1:30 p.m. at the trails. Investigators note witnesses described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Service building as a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or smart car. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to a 2016 Ford Focus. And if you look at all three of those types of vehicles, they do have a similar sort of slanted back on them. Now, obviously, a smart car is really small, etc. But when you ask witnesses to come forward and describe a vehicle that they saw, not knowing that they were supposed to be observing and remembering exactly what vehicles they saw, it's very similar to when the three girls passed Richard Allen and described the clothing a little bit differently but similarly. The timing at which Richard Allen said he was on the trails, the three girls that saw Richard Allen coming onto the trails, and the Hoosier Harvest Store video from 1:27 filming a vehicle that was consistent with the 2016 black Ford Focus verify that Richard Allen's vehicle was parked at the abandoned CPS building. The final question I have in this video regarding information that law enforcement had originally but just needed an answer to is whose gun ejected the .40 caliber bullet found at the crime scene. Clothes were found in Deer Creek belonging to Abby and Libby, south of where their bodies were located. There was also a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from Libby's body between Abby and Libby's bodies. The round was unspent and had extraction marks on it. On October 13, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant at Richard Allen's residence at 1967 North Whiteman Drive in Delphi, Indiana. Among other items officers located, jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer Model P226 .40 caliber pistol with serial number U625-627. Between October 14, 2022 and October 19, 2022, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. The laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm function test, barrel and overall length measurement test, firing ammunition, component characterization, microscopic comparison, and NIBIN. The laboratory determined, and this is the key part here, the laboratory determined the unspent round located within 2 feet of Libby's body had been cycled through Richard Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. And there you have it. They linked the bullet found at the crime scene, the .40 caliber bullet found at the crime scene near Libby's body, to one of Richard Allen's pistols, specifically the Sig Sauer Model P226 .40 caliber. So there you have it, everybody. These are the questions that law enforcement had and information that they knew, and they just needed that one piece of information. That one piece of information was the name Richard Allen that I believe was given to them through a tip. Then they went through their records and found the tip narrative related to Richard Allen. And in the investigation, it confirmed that Richard Allen was going to be at the bridge at 1:30. That's verified by the 127 Hoosier Harvest Store video showing a vehicle that resembles his 2016 black Ford Focus driving by. It's verified by the 3 girls who see him coming in just after 1:30 onto the trails from the Freedom Bridge as they were leaving. They saw him and he saw them. He admits to it. He then walks to the bridge, as he states. Then Betsy Blair ran into him at the bridge, saw him standing on platform 1, exactly where Richard Allen said he was standing. Then Richard Allen, after committing the murders, leaves the crime scene. He goes up to 300 North, and as he's walking down the road, an individual named Sarah Carbaugh sees him. All of these witnesses said that the person they saw was the individual in Libby's video, the still frame, the person known as the bridge guy. Then also at the crime scene, a .40 caliber bullet was located. When they compared it to the ejection marks from Richard Allen's Sig Sauer .40 caliber pistol, it matched. Richard Allen is the bridge guy. He is the individual who had the girls go down the hill, and that led to their murders. I believe Richard Allen is the sole killer in this case and is responsible for the murders of Abby and Libby. Richard Allen answered all the questions. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Oh, and hit that like button for me one last time, would you? Thank you.